Okay, here's how I make the little 1S batteries for the Night Vapor, the Champ, any kind of small plane. I've just made some 70 milliamp. Those are really nice in the Vapor. I'm going to try out some 240s for the Champ, and I'm going to try some of these 50s and see if they'll make it even lighter. So first thing, just pull off the little insulation tab, and let's make sure the battery's good and that it's properly labeled. Okay, 400 exactly, and it looks like the plus and the minus is as we expect. So you can't buy, or at least I haven't been able to find just the positive ends. So just to buy the little 10 cm extensions and then trim it off. Trim it off pretty short. You can see there it was about a little bit less than a cm. And then just save the other piece for something. Kind of split the two pieces apart and clip those off. Maybe about 3 mm or so is plenty. And now let's tin those pieces that we just snipped. You don't have to bother twirling it or anything. It'll just be fine like that. And the wire doesn't have to be all of the solder that's going to hold the thing together we'll put onto the battery tabs itself, but that's about how much you need. And now we're going to tin the battery. So these batteries, they have these tabs are welded on, otherwise you're not able to go directly onto the battery with standard solder, but these are solderable, and we're just going to kind of push that down nice and flat and heat it up, and then we're going to leave a nice size blob because we're actually just going to bury the wire into that blob. You probably want to do it pretty quick because you don't want to get the battery hot. If you get a little bit too much, you'll have a little tail on there. Now double or even triple check black negative and red positive, and then it's pretty tight, so just kind of line it up with your finger. And then as soon as you touch your soldering iron, it's going to melt, and the two units of solder will flow together, and that will just kind of flow together very nicely. Now don't forget that you're soldering a live electrical circuit, so take appropriate cautions. Don't short things out with your soldering iron. These small cells, it doesn't take much to zap them out. That's lined up. Get that melted together. This is a little bit more solder than I usually use, but it's still not too bad. And let's check out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Nice and tidy on both sides. It's pretty strong. When you tug, you can get rid of that piece of tape right there. There you can see where it's been welded together. I think it's nickel or something like that, so that standard solder won't solder onto it. Now, the first ones I made, I had a problem with because I couldn't figure out how to get some shrink tubing on there without making the leads really long, which of course added to the weight. And of course, like for a Vapor or something like that, I was trying to go as far as light as weight as possible. But it turns out you can get liquid tape that works really nicely. If you want to, you can get black and red and to paint things up accordingly, but I've just got the red, which has worked fine. The brush itself is a little bit big, so I just get some on a stick or a piece of cardboard, and then kind of cover up the wiring on both sides. There's the red and the black. Flip it over and get just a tiny bit more. Basically, make sure the tab is covered all the way down to where it hits the battery, and that will be just fine. And you don't need a whole lot. Just kind of twiddle with it until it covers everything. If you want to, you can actually fill in the gap in the middle, but that's just extra weight as far as I'm concerned. So we'll just kind of clean that out. And that looks pretty good. We'll set that aside to dry. When you're going to, after it's dried, I don't want to do it now because it's going to be messy, so I'm just going to kind of set this right there. But be sure and double check that you've got the positive and the negative and the black leads, and basically just make sure everything's good. This will make sure you haven't messed up the connector. Let me just check that and see. Yeah, there's 3.98, and that's good. Of course, when you're doing this, be careful, don't touch your two probes together or you'll short the battery out as well. Anyways, these work really nicely. They're really lightweight. It saves almost a half a gram off of the prepackaged batteries. This is really, quite strong. You're flying a Vapor or a Champ. This doesn't have to be super strong because it's all, taped in or velcroed in. But it works really well. It's a 20C cell, which I think is stronger than the cells that it comes with. So it gives quite a lot of kick, and with the weight savings, really balances out nicely, so that you can really fly a Champ or a Vapor really smoothly and with a real nice scale appearance. Anyways, give it a try and let me know how it goes.